challenges that you are facing. What is in your stress bucket? What are you struggling with at the moment? What is in your stress bucket? I would love to hear from you, because if we don't know what we're struggling with, it's more difficult for us to successfully navigate through these difficulties and these challenging times. So it was pausing. I'm not sure whether it's my connection or IG, but I'm back. Let's hope that it's fine for the rest of this live. So what is everyone struggling with at the moment? What's in your stress bucket? Is it struggling to manage with the demands of working, looking after the children, or is it maybe something else? What is the challenge that you're facing at the moment? Because in order to cope with the challenge, you've got to identify what the difficulties are that you're facing at the moment. Feel free just to pop it in the comments, or if you want to jump onto the live, just request me. So I've shared about what stress is, how it affects the brain, how stress also leads to reduced levels of dopamine and serotonin in the brain, which leads to us struggling to experience a sense of happiness and joy and well-being. It's compromised. Also, people struggle with their self-control. Your memory can be affected when you're stressed, and you can find it difficult to regulate your emotions because a part of the brain called the hippocampus is reduced. It's smaller. So have a think about what is in your stress bucket at the moment. Just pop it in the comments. I shared earlier that for me, sometimes work can be really stressful and busy. Sometimes during this COVID season, it's been a little tough because I felt a little bit, isolated. We've not been able to see friends and family as much as we would have liked to. I know the lockdown's been lifted now, so it's slightly different. So pop it in the comments. Let me know where you're joining from. Are you from the UK? What city are you from? Or you may be from another continent. So what I want us to think about now is, if you are feeling stressed, how would you rate that stress on a scale of 0 to 10? I want you to quantify that stress. 0 would be no stress at all. 5 would be kind of moderate stress, just in the middle. And then 10 would be extreme stress. 10 would be that you're totally struggling with stress and you feel that you can't deal with the demands that are placed on you. So just pop it in the comments. How is your stress at the moment? My stress, I would say for me right now, is probably about a 3. Anyone else? How would you rate your stress at the moment? Let me know. Let me know. How stressed are you feeling? Also, just forward the live onto your contacts, your connections, anyone else that you think would benefit. So I'm asking you, for those who have just joined, to rate your stress on a scale of 0 to 10. How stressed are you feeling? 0 is no stress. 5 is moderate stress. 10 is extreme stress. You are struggling. You feel overwhelmed with the demands that are placed upon you. How stressed are you feeling? I put mine around a 2 or a 3. Just kind of comment and let me know how stressed you're feeling, because I want it to be interactive. Or if you want to come onto the live, just request me, and then we will have a bit of a conversation. So it's important when you think about stress to kind of imagine that you are a bucket. So the live keeps pausing for you. So it might be your connection. It might be mine. I'm not too sure whether it's my connection or whether it's IG. Who knows? But we keep going. We keep going. So yeah. So I want to know about your stress. 0 to 10. And if you don't want to share it, that's fine. Just kind of jot it down. So what is causing you to feel stressed? What are the challenges that you're facing at the moment? Maybe I wonder whether IG's having a problem if everyone's struggling. And I know that does happen. So I'll be here until 8, so we'll just continue, and the video will be saved, so I'll share it on my profile as well. So we're thinking about stress and how it's affecting us. Sometimes if we think that we are a bucket, with this stress bucket, sometimes You may feel strong enough to carry the load in your bucket. But there's other times where it just feels tough. You just feel that you don't have the strength or the willpower to manage those demands. It's just cut out again, but it's okay, we continue. So sometimes with that stress bucket, you may feel that you don't have enough within you, enough resources to manage the demands and the weight and the load of the stress in your bucket. I'll hold my hand up. There's been times when I've felt overwhelmed. There's been times when I have struggled to manage the demands that are placed upon me during COVID. I was shielding. That was tough. Working full time, limited contact with family and friends. It was tough. And there was just so much uncertainty. But I'm grateful that through the challenges, through the stress, I have grown and I have learnt and I have become more resilient. So who has grown through this challenge that we're facing, even with the death of George Floyd and the catalogue of deaths of other black individuals and the injustice? That was quite overwhelming for me. I was so quite emotional at times, and just, everything that was being all of those images that were being kind of directed towards us through the media, all of that was quite overwhelming and stressful. But I intentionally decided that I am not going to watch that video because it's traumatic. I don't ordinarily see people being killed. So why, for me personally, why would I be watching a video of someone being killed? That's my personal viewpoint. And I did that to protect myself and to manage the demands and the stress that was placed upon me as an individual. So what I'm going to move on to now, what I'm going to move on to talking about is thinking about stress busters. Different ways that you can reduce the stress that you're experiencing. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to share about 5 different ways that you can manage your stress. So the first one is looking at the physical impact that stress has upon the body. So when people feel stressed, they can experience a bit of muscle tension. Not when I say a bit, quite a lot of muscle tension. And what happens is all of the muscle groups within the body can become quite tight and tense. When people feel stressed, there tends to be tension in the shoulders, really tight. There can be tension in the chest. When people feel quite stressed, there can be tension in the legs, tension in the forehead. You might get a lot of headaches. I know for me personally, when I'm stressed, I tend to get quite a tight chest and a headache. That's how stress affects me. So how does stress affect you? That's what I want to know. How is stress affecting you, or how does it usually affect you? Just post in the comments and let me know whilst I just take some water. How is stress affecting you? Give you a few minutes. Give you 20 seconds. Yeah? Okay. So if stress is affecting you physically, one thing you can do is exercise. Keep active, keep going. And I'm doing this because actually you could just be dancing. That's exercise, and I like to dance. Yeah? Exercise, keep the body moving. That can get rid of the tension. That can reduce the tension and help you to feel more relaxed. It will reduce endorphins as well through being active, and that can help to reduce stress. So if you're someone that likes music, maybe start doing a workout to some music that you enjoy, or just put some music on, do some cleaning in the house and just dance. Just feel. There's no music on here, but I've got music on in my head. Just feel. Feel the rhythm in the music. Feel the beat, yeah? And when I'm exercising, I'm focused on the music and I'm enjoying myself. But actually at the same time, it's reducing stress within me. It's reducing and releasing that tension. Even going for a lovely walk, that can help to reduce the stress. Being in a different environment, connecting with nature, that can help to reduce the stress that you might be experiencing. Also, another way to reduce stress by looking at the physical impact that it has on you is doing relaxation exercises. So there's an exercise that I'm going to take you through now, and this is what I use when I work with people who are feeling stressed or anxious and they say that they're... So I use this with those who are experiencing a lot of tension when they're stressed, who are feeling quite a lot of tightness in the body. So progressive muscle relaxation is an effective way of managing the physical signs of stress and anxiety. And it's important to understand how the body responds to stress so you can manage it. And this exercise is about tensing muscle groups in the body and then also releasing the tension and relaxing and noticing the difference between when your muscles are relaxed and when your muscles are tense. And this can help to improve your sleep as well if you're feeling less tense and less anxious. So I'm just going to take you through a few of these exercises. And this exercise that I'm sharing with you is in my book, which I've just got here, Resilience in the Workplace. So it's on page 34 to 36. So what I want you to do now, depending on where you're sat, what I want you to do is to curl your toes upwards towards the ceiling. And I'm doing it right now. So curl your toes upwards, hold them there and curl them towards the ceiling for 5 seconds. I want you to feel the tension, notice the tension and the tightness, and then I want you to slowly release the tension. So I want you to release the tension and for you to move your toes downwards towards the ground. So we'll do it again. I want you just to raise your toes towards the ceiling, and I want you to feel the tension within your toes and your feet and your legs. Hold for 5 seconds and then release the tension and just lower the toes towards the ground. That can help to release tension within your feet or your legs if that's what you're experiencing. Another part of progressive muscle relaxation is tightening your calf muscle by pulling your toes towards you. So pull your toes towards you and feel that tension in your calf. Hold it there for 5 seconds. Feel that tightness, feel the tension, and then slowly release the tension. And notice the difference between the tightness and the relaxation. The next one that I'm going to take you through is the shoulders, the neck and the shoulders. Because when people feel stressed and anxious, that tension tends to occur in the shoulders. I don't know why this keeps them stopping, but we continue. So what you can do is, I want you to raise your shoulders just beneath your ear. So just like that, hunch the shoulders beneath the ear. Keep them there for 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Feel that tightness and the tension, and then slowly lower the shoulders and feel that relaxation. Feel the relaxation. And I want you to do that again. Just raise your shoulders beneath your ears. Keep them there for 5 seconds and then slowly lower them. So that can help to release the tension that you might experience within the shoulders. Yeah. Another part of progressive muscle relaxation is maybe you've got a headache or there's tension in your head. What you can do is raise your eyebrows as far as you can. So watch me. Keep them there for 5 seconds and then slowly lower them. And then just repeat that again And that can help to release the tension. And I actually do this when I feel stressed, when I get headaches. And I think I just do it automatically. And I think a long time ago, I didn't even realise what I was doing. But, you know, sometimes we're just wired to survive. So our body just naturally kicks in that survival instinct, and we're able to know how to manage some of those stresses. So there's a lot more that I could go into, but because of time, I'm not going to. But if you want to find out more, maybe check out my book. So they're the other parts of the of this exercise. I think you can probably see. So that's the progressive muscle relaxation. It's so effective. So another way to manage the physical signs of anxiety is to, if you're maybe over breathing and you're taking in too much oxygen, what you can do is use an exercise which is called controlled or calm breathing. So with controlled and calm breathing, what it involves is breathing in through the nose for 4 seconds, holding for 2 seconds, and then breathing out slowly through the mouth for 6 seconds. And this can help to reduce that overbreathing and hyperventilation, which leads to all of those physiological changes within the body. So I'm just going to take you through it. So breathe in through your nose for 4 seconds. Hold for 2. And then breathe out for 6 through your mouth. I want you to repeat that on a cycle. And if you want to, you can close your eyes and visualize being in a calm and a relaxing place. Visualize being in your safe space. So breathe in through your nose for 4 seconds. Hold for 2. And then breathe out for 6 seconds through your mouth. And as you're breathing in, just imagine that you're breathing in a sense of calm and relaxation. And imagine that you're exchanging that for the stress and anxiety that you might be experiencing. Hi, Anna. Hi, Sonia and Patricia. Great that you could join us. So that's another way that you can manage the physical signs of anxiety. What I'm going to move on to now is some other ways that you can manage stress that you might be experiencing. So sometimes when people feel stressed, it can affect you mentally. You can have a lot of negative thoughts. Some of the thoughts that you might have might be that if you've possibly lost your job, you might think, oh, I'm never going to get another job. I'm going to lose my house. I'm going to lose my property. There's no end to COVID. I can't cope. It's only going to get worse. All of those thoughts are going to lead to your stress just being a 10. I asked you earlier about, you know, how you would rate it. Your anxiety would be a 10 if you just continue to muse over those unhelpful, negative thoughts. So one way of addressing that is actually understanding what is going through your mind when you're stressed. Because sometimes we don't stop to think about what is maintaining that stress and anxiety. I know for me, sometimes when I feel stressed, I sometimes think that maybe I can't cope or things aren't going to get better. So one way of reframing that and one way of managing that would be to have a different thought. So the antithesis of it. So to think that actually things are going to get better. And if you are having these unhelpful thoughts that are probably fueling the stress, what I'd ask you to think about is the thought that you're having, is it a fact or is it an opinion? Hi, Asma. Is it a fact or is it an opinion? These thoughts that you're having when you're feeling stressed, is it a fact or is it an opinion? Just comment and let me know. Are some of those thoughts that you're having when you're feeling stressed, are they facts or are they opinions? So are they facts or are they opinions? Also, when you're having those thoughts, such as things won't get better, I won't get another job, it's only going to get worse, what I would ask you to think about is, instead of thinking, what's the worst thing that could happen? Why not think, what is the best thing that could happen? Rather than thinking you can't cope or you're not going to get another job, why not consider that you will get another job? Why not focus on the positive? What skills, what resources do you have that will position you to secure another job if you've possibly lost a job during COVID? Also, another way that you can manage some of the stress is thinking about, are you experiencing thinking biases? When people feel stressed or when people experience different strong emotions, it can affect your perception, it can affect your perspective, and people can tend to have a negative bias. So there's some thinking biases or thinking traps that people experience when they're feeling stressed. So one way of managing that is by asking yourself, are you experiencing any of the thinking biases? And these are mentioned in my book on page 13. I'm just going to read through them. So actually identifying these unhelpful thinking traps or distortions, that can actually help you to step back. So it can help you to step back from your thoughts and to gain perspective and to reduce the distress that you might be experiencing when stressed. So there's 10 cognitive distortions or thinking biases and traps. So are you catastrophizing? Are you seeing the worst possible outcome? Such as thinking that you're going to lose your job. Is there any evidence to support that? Are you overgeneralizing? Are you making broad interpretations and conclusions with little information? Are you magnifying and minimizing? Are you exaggerating or minimizing the significance of events? Any of those? Are you using something which is called all or nothing thinking or dichotomous thinking? So that's extreme thinking, where there's no middle ground, it's quite rigid and inflexible. So with the this type of thinking, I'll give you an example. An example of dichotomous thinking would be that I'm never going to get a job again. So it's quite extreme. So rather than maybe thinking that times are tough now and I might get a job in 3 months' time, the stress would cause you to think that I'm never going to get a job, because as I shared earlier, it affects your perception when you're feeling stressed and can lead to anxiety. Prolonged stress, when it's not managed, can lead to anxiety, and it can also affect your mood, because we can only manage burnout for so long. Also, are you jumping to conclusions? Are you interpreting the meaning of a situation with little or no evidence? Are you maybe experiencing a negative bias? Are you ignoring the positive and focusing on the negative? So when you're stressed, are you ignoring the positive and focusing on the negative? Are you maybe using your emotions and your feelings to reason, or using your emotions as a barometer of reality? Is that a good thing to do? Because our emotions change and fluctuate so much. Are you maybe experiencing assumptions? Are you maybe using statements such as I should be doing this, I must, I ought to be doing this? Because that can place a lot of pressure on you. Are you maybe personalising? Do you believe that you're responsible for events beyond your control? Is that fair? Are you being fair to yourself? If you can't control something, why not just kind of step back and try to accept the reality? So I guess that relates to COVID. If we can't control it, why not accept it? Focus on what you can control and let go of what you can't. Also, Are you mind reading when you're feeling stressed? Do you believe that you know what someone else is thinking with no evidence? Do you think that everyone knows that you're stressed? Do you think everyone knows that you're struggling? Do you think everyone knows that you've lost your job? There's just some questions for you to have a think about. So that can help with reducing your stress. Just conscious of the time, got quite a lot to get through. If you've got any questions, just post in the comments. Or if you've got any thoughts, if you want to kind of pop on to the live, just let me know. So what we'll look at now are some other ways of managing the stress. We'll look at some ways that you can manage it in behaviourally. Think about some things that you can actually do. Setting boundaries is so important. Who's good at setting boundaries? Because that can help to reduce the stress and to reduce the demands that are placed on you. Yeah? So setting boundaries are critical in managing stress. So when you set boundaries, that helps to when you set boundaries, that can help to reduce the pressure that is placed upon you. And that can help you to manage the resources that you have. Also, when you set boundaries, that can help to ensure that your stress bucket isn't overloaded. And it's okay to say no. Sometimes we need to say no more often and be assertive in order to minimize the stress that we experience. Maybe delegate tasks at work, because that will reduce the demands. Even at home, if you're homeschooling, get your husband to do more, get your partner to do more, rather than you doing everything. Get the kids involved if that's stressing you out. Also, having a healthy and balanced diet, that can help to reduce stress. So, drinking less caffeine, drinking more water, which will energise you, give you more strength. Having more protein, reducing the fats, having a balanced diet, all of that is going to help with reducing stress and ensuring that your body, this machine that you've got, can function well. Having a good sleep routine and rest is so important, because rest is restorative, and don't underestimate the power of sleep. That can really help to reduce some of the pressure and the demands that are placed on you. So when you wake up the next day, you've been recharged, your battery's been recharged, and you're ready to face the demands. Also, maybe listening to music, that can help. And as I shared earlier, tying that in with being active, listening to music, that can help to, just reduce the stress. And as you're listening to music and dancing, just imagine that you're kind of pushing away the stress. You're pushing away the stress, yeah? Also, prayer or meditation, that can help with reducing the stress that you're facing. For me, I'm a Christian, so spirituality is important to me. I know for me personally, prayer and meditation is a good stress reliever. And it just helps you to get outside of yourself. And sometimes we need to do that, because when we're stressed, we can be so absorbed with our thoughts, and that can be quite overwhelming. So sometimes we just need to get out of our own way, and that can help to improve our stress and to reduce it. Another way that you can manage stress is thinking, what can you do socially? How can you leverage your social support? So if you feel a bit isolated, it's important to connect with your family, your friends, and those people that are important to you. That can help to reduce your stress. So connecting with those that are close to you can reduce your stress. Having more social support, having that sense of social connectedness, that can help to reduce stress and anxiety, and that will improve your well-being, and it will also foster a sense of community, which is important. And during these difficult times, I think it's important not to only consider doing that in person, but actually online, connecting with people online, connecting with groups and communities where you've got shared values. That can help to reduce stress. And I know for me personally, during the COVID-19, I've joined a mentoring group, and that's been excellent. It's been a way of reducing stress, but it's also been a way of me leveling up in terms of my business and getting focused, but also having support from my other the other mentees and from my mentor. So that's just an example of how you can maybe gain support, social support online, and just reaching out to people as well, because that can reduce social isolation, and that can help to ensure that you've got more support. So when you are stressed, you can reach out to people. And the final area that I'm going to have a think about and share with you is looking at how you can manage your emotions to manage stress. So sometimes some people don't talk about how they're feeling. For me personally, I'm just going to be honest, I don't get it sometimes, because I'm a talker. And I guess that is why I am a therapist. I love talking. I know my family think I talk too much sometimes, but that's just me. I'm a processor. If I'm stressed, if I'm anxious, I've got to get it out. I got to get it out. I got to get it out. I can't keep it in. So I would encourage you to start talking about how you're feeling. If you're stressed, maybe start journaling. Start recording what is stressing you out, and just recording it. That in itself can be cathartic. That can help you to process the stress that you're experiencing. You're putting a name on it, which is powerful, rather than just allowing it just to kind of fester in your mind and to grow. So name what is stressing you out. Name the emotion that you're experiencing when you feel stressed. Think about what thoughts are contributing towards the stress, and just get talking. Find even one person that you can confide in. Talking, the power of talking cannot be overlooked. Even if it's talking to your manager at work, or a colleague, or even sometimes you struggle with talking in person, maybe sending a text, or even sending a voice note or an email. You've got to start somewhere. And these are some advice that I give to people that I work with, young people and adults, because some people really do struggle with talking and opening up, and that can be because they struggle with tolerating emotion, or they may struggle with just managing emotions, and some of that can be to do with their upbringing, because maybe your family are not talkers, so that's made it a lot more difficult for you. So talking about how you're feeling, talking about the stress, talking about how it's affecting you can help. Processing that emotion and speaking to someone can validate your experiences, validate the stress, validate why you are feeling stressed. And sometimes that's all that some people may need. So get talking, because that can help to process the stress. So there are just a few ways that you can release some of the stress in your stress bucket. We've all got a bucket. We are the bucket. Sometimes it can be overloaded. Sometimes we can be overwhelmed by the stress, by the demands that are placed upon us. It can be overwhelming for us, but managing that stress is important. And one of the powerful ways of managing stress is by actually understanding what is causing it. So what I challenge you to do today is to start thinking about what is causing your stress. And maybe just start journaling and think about how can you possibly reduce that stress? What can you do to reduce it? So it might be that you use some of the strategies and tools that I've shared with you. If you are struggling with stress, feel free to send me a DM and to reach out to me. And you can book in for a free 20-minute consultation with me. Just send me an email, info@rapidtherapyservices.com. So we've come to the end. Thanks for all who have joined us on this journey. We've got 2 more weeks of this series. Next week we'll be looking probably more at self-care, because this week we've focused more on the stress busters. So we'll look at self-care next week. It might be slightly shorter, maybe half an hour. We'll see how it goes. So we'll look at self-care strategies, and then in the final week we'll be looking at the impact of lockdown, looking at lockdown blues in the final week. So I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you're watching it on the catch up, on the replay, because I'll save this on my profile, I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope I've added some value, and that's what I'm about. That's what Rapid Therapy Services is about. We're here to help you to be revived, restored and refocused in life and in your business. We're here to help you to weather the storms of life, and we're in it together. So I hope you found this helpful. I'd love for you just to leave a comment in terms of the video, and just let me know how you found it. If there's any other topics you want me to share on, just feel free to send me a DM or an email or just a comment. So I hope that you enjoy the rest of your evening, and all the best for the week. And it's been great sharing Sunday evening with you. So enjoy and relax, and use some of these strategies as well. They do work. They're proven, and I use them for myself.